What is up, guys? Mysterious Brony here, and I am back again with the mysterious Q&A, with a little bit more accentuation on the A for answers this time. I've had some sleep, and I feel so much better now. I feel energized and ready to face the day. So, I was actually blown away with how many questions I got. I didn't think I'd get that many questions. It was really, really cool. Thanks, guys. And, thanks for 800 subs. But, enough of my yapping. Let's get into the questioning and the answering and the fumbling around, because I'm going to be doing a lot of that in this recording because it's going to be in one take. Alright, let me just take a drink before we begin. Okay, I'm ready to face the day. Here we go. Question 1 comes from Big Mac Davis 1, and he, I'm assuming, wanted to know a couple of quick questions, apparently. First of all, what microphone do I use for recording vocals? Well, I have two microphones I actually use for vocals, but at the moment, I'm leaning more towards my MXL 770 condenser microphone. It's a great little microphone. It was cheap as anything. It was like $300 retail, and it is fantastic for the price I get. It's great. Just really awesome sounding. You're hearing it at the moment. This is what I'm recording this vocal on. And yes, that's my primary vocal mic at the moment. The other one I have is the Rode NT1, and it's great as well. It's fantastic as well. Don't get me wrong. I think it went for about 500. I think. Don't quote me on that one, but yes. The only reason I'm not using it is because I'm just favoring towards the 770 at the moment. I go back and forth all the time. But his second question is, how long do I think I'll be doing these songs for? I hope it's forever. Well, Big Mac Davis, the last time I wrote songs for like a show or something, I stopped when I got bored. And the amazing thing about this pony community is, even though we're in between two seasons, every day there's still something cool that comes out. Every single day. And it blows my mind. And every day I see something that makes me go, oh, that's cool. I'm going to write some music. Every single day. And yes, so assuming that this community continues to make inspirational and amazing works, then yeah, I probably will write music until the end of that, because I'm having so much fun doing this pony stuff. It's awesome. And his final question is, will I ever release an instrumental for Rainbow Blues? That song is the best. What's up? Yeah, why not? The link for it is in the description below. Have fun with that and send me your version of you singing it, because I would love to hear that so much, man. Really, do it now. Wait, no, don't do it now. Wait for the Q&A to finish. Question 2 comes from El Gato Chulo, and they wanted to know, what is my story of my brony transformation? The standard question, and unfortunately my answer is a bit of the stock standard answer. I had a couple of friends who watched the show, and they hounded me to watch it, and I told them to go stand in that far corner facing the wall, you girly little man. And they kept hounding me, and I kept saying no, way too girly for me. Oh, what is wrong with you? Until finally I just said, oh, all right. Just show me an episode, and then leave me alone forever. So they showed me, I think it was the last roundup, and I watched all the way through it, and I was not as instantly repulsed as I thought I would be. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to watch another episode, just to confirm that. And I went to episode 1 of season 1, and because that's a two-parter, I had to watch episode 2, and then I watched another 20 episodes. So yeah, needless to say, I went back to him, and he said, what do you think of ponies? And I said, it's not for me, bro. Blatant lie. But I did eventually come out to him and say, yeah, ponies are pretty sick, man. And he was like, oh, sweet. Okay. Question 3. Lucario1121 wanted to know what inspires the songs I write. Specifically, My Sister and Me. Well, Lucario1121. In a broad sense, inspiration for my songs comes from a lot of places, as with most musicians would find. I'd be surprised if someone had like one source of inspiration. And then I'd want to know what it is, because it's some kind of holy inspiration thing. But no, I get inspiration when I'm in the car, driving along. I get inspiration at 4 in the morning, which is annoying. And I have to write the song. I get inspirations when I look at awesome images, awesome fictions, anything I find to be awesome, I usually want to turn into a song, or my interpretation of it I want to take into a song. And for my sister and me, you do have a keen ear, my friend, because you can tell that there's a bit more inspiration in that one than there is some other songs. And it is true. The inspiration for that came from two places, like primarily. First of all was an image I found, and it was the image that you guys can see in the actual video of the song, where Sweetie Belle is looking at Rarity and they're sort of like posing for a family photo kind of feel. I must have looked at that image for 10 minutes straight, just looking at it, until eventually thoughts of my sister and I crept into my mind, and I'm very glad she's never going to listen to this or see this video, because I do love my sister a lot, and don't tell her that. But yes, as soon as that thought came into my mind, I went to the friends I was talking to on Skype and I said, look, I have to go. I have to write music right now. And it came together pretty quickly, this one. But yes, some of the inspiration for that song, some of the lines, in fact, came from real life. What line was it? It was and I'm sorry that I lost the key to the house. I swear I had it on me when I left this morning. That came from a true story. I swear I had that key on me when I left that morning. But no, my sister, being the awesome sister she is, came down from work and let me into the house. And yeah. So yes, I love my sister, but don't you dare tell her. Okay, moving on to question 4 by Copycat642, and they want to know, who is best ship? Well, I personally am a fan of the Santa Maria. Somebody had to say that joke. No, when I first saw this question, I thought about it, and I came to the conclusion of 2 different ships, or pairings, or whatever you want to call them. And they are, first of all, Vinyl and Octavia. They just fit so well together. It's hard to get those two to not mesh well together, even though by like all logical standards they shouldn't. And that's what's so brilliant about it. I just love them. Dawnfade from university days writes them so perfectly. And I keep hitting the microphone, I'm sorry. But when you posed this question, I kind of thought, I think he means the main 6. So if I had to choose a main 6, and it's not that hard for me, but I would choose Rainbow Dash. Duh, she gets shipped with everybody. And Applejack. I know so many of you are sitting at your computer just going, oh, what the hell? But I really like those 2. They really like the way they, communicate and argue and whatnot. Really sets the mood. Whoa, that sounded wrong. Oh god. I like them, okay? I think they're a good pairing. Next question. Question 5 comes from Brandhun96, and he wanted to know, how long have I been playing music and separately singing for? You're awesome, man. Well, to answer that, I'm not awesome, thank you very much. I'm pretty mediocre if you actually, take a second and listen to it. But, no, I started my musical journey, if you will, on, violin when I was about 7. My mum played violin, and I wanted to play violin, and so I picked up the violin at about 7, I think it was. And I played that instrument for a good 7 years straight. Went to lessons two times a week for 7 years. I mean, nowadays I can barely play the bloody thing. It's really not like a bicycle, the violin. But, Yes, and then when I was about 10, my dad, who was a pub guitarist singer, gave me my first acoustic guitar, which is sitting in the corner of this room. Tiny little thing. It looks like a large ukulele. And I still play that today. Just for the nostalgia effect of it. But no, I've played guitar till today, and some of the other instruments I picked up along the way that can play at a decent level is the piano, the drums, the bass. Quite a lot of the time, what you hear in the recording, I've actually played. I do sometimes use MIDIs, and I have used pre-written MIDI drums before, because I just couldn't be bothered doing it. But usually, for the drums, I run it through my drum processing program, through my electronic drum kit. And that's how you get that awesome sound. But as for singing, I have never really thought of me singing as me studying a music, like an instrument. I sung in the choir in primary school when I was a little kid at super ultra soprano, because I was like, still kind of am these days. But I guess that's when it first started, and then I stopped singing for a long time, and then I picked it up a little bit in high school, because I've never been a confident singer. Ever. And then, I would sing off and on, very rarely, like that, and then I joined a band near the middle of high school, and I sung backup harmonies for that, and that taught me a lot about how to harmonize and such. And then after we disbanded, I decided, alright, I'll sing a little bit more. And I've been doing that for a while. And then the Pony Phantom is the first time I've ever really had confidence enough to sing, full-length songs and such. I've really just never been a fan of my own voice. And it was a bit of a shock when I released that first song, and then people were saying your voice is really great. I didn't quite know how to handle that at first. Sort of blew me away a bit. But I guess I've been playing music for, a minimum of 16 years, and I've been singing on and off for, let's say 10 years. It's hard to tell. But hopefully that answers your question. Question 6 comes from Pony Brony 6000, and they want to know who's my favourite Brony musician, and I can't pick myself. Aww. God, I'd never pick myself if I could. My favourite Brony musician. Okay. Who remembers my first song? Trixie, The Truth of Trixie, sorry. Where in the comments I said, later I'll be releasing songs to rival Mando Pony. And throughout this, I've occasionally taken drunken stabs at Mando Pony when I'm drunk. I'll be like, yeah, that Mando Pony's got nothing on me. That was actually a pretty good impersonation of me drunk. But through all of that, through the haze of confusing letters and drunken late-night posts, I would have to say Mando Pony is my favourite and most inspirational Brony musician. He was the first one. He introduced me to Brony music, and he was the straw on the camel's back that led me to start writing Brony music. And yes, even though I jive and jeer about it, he really is probably my favourite Brony musician. And yes, most inspirational too. So moving on to question 7 before I get too sappy. This is so cool! Wants to know, what artist do I draw for inspiration for my own music? And I'm assuming you mean non-Brony artists. Like in the Brony community, so many of them. There's Mando Pony, there's Living Tombstone, there's Alex S. So many people get me up and dancing and singing along and trying to learn the songs as they play. But through non-Brony musicians, I'd probably say bands like Queen. Queen are a big influence on my music. Dream Theater as well play a huge role. I've been working on a song lately, and I sort of took a step back and went, "Oh, this is really Dream Theater-esque." When I was younger, some of my biggest artists were Def Leppard and Cheap Trick and Foreigner and all those awesome 80s bands, and I still love them today. But I'd say the two biggest inspirations at the moment for me are... Oh, no, at the moment for me, they'd be sort of like Queen, Dream Theater, and at the moment, Bowling for Soup. I've been listening to a lot of them lately, and I think it's showing in the music. But yeah, they're sort of my inspirations. This is so cool. Thanks for asking your question. Moving on to question 8, coming from Superclaim01. And they want to know, why did I start making pony music? And what made me want to start making pony music? Also, I should make a song about Zakona. Just saying. Well, Superclaim01, it's actually a bit of a funny story as to why I started actually writing the pony music and releasing it and stuff. And who here remembers that guy I was talking about a bit earlier ago who introduced me to ponies? And I went back to him and said, "Nah, ponies ain't for me, man." Well, I decided this was a golden opportunity to screw with his mind. So I created the Mysterious Brony page, and I'd put up songs, and I'd be like, hey dude, check out this mysterious, how do you pronounce it, brony guy. And he'd be like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. And I'd be like, oh yeah, he writes a good music, hey. And I kept doing that for so long, and I'd just like send him and be like, oh, I think you'll like this, it's alright, I guess. And he'd be like, yeah, this is awesome. And I'd be in the background going, this is good for my ego. Till eventually he went, wait a minute, this guy sounds a lot like you. And that's the point where I had to literally just go, oh, okay, you got me, it's me. I freaking love ponies, man. Twilight is best pony. And I think he sort of saw that coming, because he's like, yeah, you do. And as for Zakona, I do have a song in my head about how I want to go about that. I just need to think about how I'm going to write it down. But I do have a Zakona head in my... I do have a Zakona head? No, I don't have a Zakona head. I do have a Zakona song in my head. And I really want to start working on that one, so hopefully that will come to fruition shortly. Who knows? Moving on to question 9. Psychogoth actually had a couple of questions, and some of them sort of crossed over other people's questions and such, so I sort of broke them down and took some of the questions that didn't cross over from him. And his first question was, what do I do for a living? Well, Psychogoth. Just normal Psychogoth. You're not a psycho, just a psych. You're a shrink goth. But no, what do I do for a living? I am a live sound audio technician. So it's pretty much the fanciest way I can say my job title. But that guy, when you go to, rock gigs or whatever kind of gig you go to, and there's the guy in the corner on the mixing desk who looks bored as hell, and probably is. That's me, usually. That's my job. I do audio for anything that needs audio, essentially. From, simple corporate events to big corporate events to simple rock bands to huge touring acts. Whatever I can get my hands on, I sort of do audio for. Like, essentially, I'm a glorified roadie, because I still have to pack it up and set it up. But no, and his second question is, what are my thoughts on collaborating? I love collaboration. I'm all about collaboration. Collaboration is the way to emulation. I don't know where I was going with that one. But I think collaboration is awesome, and if you have collaboration ideas, yeah, come at me. Come at me, bro. With your ideas. I've had a couple of collaborations sort of fall through the ground. I've had Forest Rain. Me and him were supposed to do something a long time ago. No idea what happened to that. And then me and I Bring the Lulz have been back and forthing for ages with ideas, and he wouldn't like it or I wouldn't like it, and it was just back and forth like that for ages. And we're still trying to get that right. One day we'll get that right. We'll get it right one day. But yeah, I'm all about collaboration. So if you got ideas, come send me a PM and we'll work on something. It would be totally cool. I'd love it. Alrighty, moving on to question 10. We are at about 2/3 of the way there now. Jeeps Ma Creeps wanted to know, will I ever make a reggae or jazz song? Can honestly say I've never thought about making a reggae song. I don't know. I'm not saying reggae's bad, and I really try to keep an open mind about music, but I don't have any reggae on my music folders or anything, I've got to admit. As for jazz, though, I have a jazz song idea that I really want to work on. In fact, I'm probably going to work on this straight after I post this up. and it is a Pinkie Pie investigator theme. Because I was watching one of those old school, 80s investigator movies. Like Private Investigator kind of thing. And I was like, there's this idea of a song just sprung into my mind. I was like, oh, yeah. As soon as I get the chance, I'm writing that one. So yeah, hopefully you should have a jazz song nice and soon. Jeeps, my creeps. Thanks for the question. Next question comes from Sexy Shovel. It's question 11. And he or she wanted to know, what door do I use and why? And let me just start by saying, Sexy Shovel, I'm totally digging you right now. I'm all about the bad jokes. It's what I do. Well, for the people who don't know, a DAW doesn't actually mean door. It means a digital audio workstation. Come on, guys, focus. This is serious business. And the DAW of choice for me is Pro Tools, Sexy Shovel. And the reason I am a fan of Pro Tools is because I studied it for, 4 years straight. I'm really comfortable on it. I know my way around it like it's the back of my hand. There are occasions I have to reach for the manual when, phantom gremlins find their way into my computer. But no, Pro Tools, for me, is the way to go. May not be the way to go for other people, but it's my cup of tea. I'm running Pro Tools 9 at the moment because I just haven't upgraded to 10 yet. I have no legit reason. Anyway, moving on. Question 12 comes from Zato909. Besides my name, what is your... Moving right on. Skythorn the Brony wants to know, do I ever try to write different music genres? Say, have I ever attempted jazz or orchestra? Barbershop quartet? Well, Skythorn the Brony, I do really try to keep all of my stuff, as creative and interchanging as possible. You think about the history of what I've done. We started with acoustic folk, and then we moved into, sort of a bit, classic rocky kind of stuff, and then we did some traditional folk, and Pinky's Morning can only be described as children's television. But, yeah, and then lately I've sort of I've tried to go into dubstep and drum and bass and that kind of stuff and failed miserably. But lately I've been working in sort of punky kind of feel, rocky, I don't know what to say that is. I know if I say something, someone else will say it's something else. I would call it punk rock. Don't know if you guys would agree with me, but this is what I'd call it. And, I have done orchestral stuff, and I really like doing orchestral stuff. It's really, really fun. Also, I try to... Yeah, I really just like the idea of mixing it up. I'd hate to release the same song with different lyrics. It's just something I'm always conscious about. But yeah, I really try to keep it creative. And then you continue to ask, how long does it usually take me to go through the writing process, recording, and release process? And how do I do it? Well, this changes so much between each song. It's crazy. For example, Scootaloo, What's Wrong With You was really popular. Across Your Daily it's got its own little posty thing, and I was like, whoa! And I ran around my house mostly naked. And that took me about 4 hours to write. It was in the middle of the night, I got out of bed, I'm like, I can't sleep, I'll try and write music. That thing came out of my head and spilled onto my computer, and it was spectacular. But then again, Equestria Train, still a good song, still one of my favourite songs. It took nearly 4 days to write. I think it was about 16 or 17 hours over the course of 4 days. Why? I don't know. Some things just didn't snap together. How do I go about writing these songs? It usually starts with the idea, and then I'll come downstairs into the studio and I'll pick up a guitar and block it out as best I can. Then I go to the computer, and I usually start with the rhythm guitar, and I do about a third or a quarter of the song on rhythm guitar to a click track. Then I go to drums and record them as quickly as I can. The way I record drums is I actually have my drum synthesizer, and then I have my electronic drum kit, and I run my electronic kit through the synthesizer so that everything I hit turns into MIDI notes and I can correct mistakes that I make. But no, yeah, I usually do drums, and then I usually do bass, and then I usually put the cherries on top, being things like lead breaks and pretty stuff that you can't quite hear but is there, and rhythm too, and all sorts of stuff like that. And that's usually the process. And as for release, I have really crappy internet. It takes me about half a day to upload a HD video. It's terrible. Okay then, question 14, we're nearly at the end here, guys. Zavon Gears wants to know, do I have any tips for an aspiring artist who doesn't know how to start making music or what software to use? I am trying to start, but get so lost by all the bleak answers I receive when I'm asked. Okay, well, I'll try my hardest not to give you a bleak answer, because I know how that feels. But if you're looking to get into... I'm assuming with your question, you're already a musician, and you already write some pretty amazing stuff, but you don't know how to record it and produce it. And my tips for that would be, starting with your digital audio workstation, find one that fits what you're going to do. Because digital audio workstations work for different things. Pro Tools is primarily recorded, so if you want to do all recorded drums and all recorded guitar and stuff, Pro Tools is probably your best bet. If you want to move into more MIDI-controlled instruments, then things like Logic or FL Studio are probably your better bet. It really, look up, you go to YouTube, you can find, information on every one of the, I'm having a mind blank, digital audio workstations, and it's really informative. Then, once you get in there, see, the reason I'm pretty good is because I actually studied a course in audio development, and that went for 4 years. So it did take 4 years for me to learn all this stuff, and I'm still learning stuff every day. But if you want to pick it up straight off, YouTube is your best friend, dude. Because you can, if you open up, say Pro Tools, because I know what Pro Tools is, and you open an EQ, and you're like, what the heck is this? Literally go straight to YouTube, type in, what is an EQ? And you will get answers from the really dumb, that EQ is this, to this is an EQ, here's what it can do, here's something else it can do. You can get everything out of that. As for gear, it depends on what you want to do primarily. If you're primarily a guitarist, are you primarily a singer? That depends. Your microphone really is one of your more important steps, so don't skimp out on that. Then, of course, you've got your preamp. A lot of people make the mistake. You can have a $3,000 $3,000 microphone, but if you've got a $50 preamp, it's gonna sound pretty bad, regardless. So there is a great guide for this, and it's called Gorilla Recording, or Gorilla Magazine, or something like that, and it is spectacular. I picked it up for $15 at my local music store, and it just starts from, so you want to become a musician? Yeah, so you want to start recording your music? All the way through everything right to, so you want to master your track and sell it off to record labels. It's really, really informative stuff. I highly recommend that one. But yes, YouTube and the Gorilla Guide, I think it's called, are your two best friends. So definitely check them out. I really hope this helps. If you have any more questions for me, PM me, and I'll try my hardest to get the best answer for you, because there is nothing more annoying than getting crappy answers like the one I've probably just given you. Alrighty, moving to, I think this is the last question, and it comes from Thorlane, and he wants to know if I will marry him. Thor, we all know rather well. He was the vocal artist for the video I released called The Things We Catch on Skype. Thor, I'm afraid Australian law is pretty strict on gay marriage at the moment, but we're working on it. there is actually a legitimate reason why I had this question in here, and I wanted to sort of just shout out to all the New South Wales bronies that are listening. Me and Thor Lane here will be attending Supernova Festival in a week, actually, and we are going to be dressing up as our two favourite ponies. I will be the regal and highly intelligible Octavia, while he'll be the brutish and unfavorable vinyl scratch. And we both put like a bit of thought into our costumes and stuff. It's gonna be awesome. And if you're in that area or if you're going to it, find us, man. Cause I'd love to say hi and bro hoof you. The last supernova I went to, so many bro hoofs. It was awesome. I loved it. It was the first time they took my bro hoof virginity at that place. I was blown away. It was awesome. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the question segment. If you had any other questions you wanted to ask me, feel free to PM them to me. And I'm a nice guy. I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna answer your question. But if I don't, it's not because I don't want to answer your question. It's because I totally forgot. Really, I love answering questions from you guys. It's fun as heck, and I mean it helps you guys. It's good for me, and yeah, it's fun. And I will hopefully have a song in at least the next couple of days. I have a few days off, so hopefully I can pull out some music in that time. Anyway, thanks for listening to that, and I will get back to music now. I swear. Alrighty, guys, from Mysterious Brony, thanks for 800 subs, and sticking on, and listening to my stuff, and commenting, and doing all those fantastic things you do to make me do the fantastic things I do. Alright, guys, I'll go now because most of you are probably fallen asleep by now, so, yeah. See you guys.